Today we're going to have a fun collage making session both with and without the gel plate. My process is very simple, as I will basically use the gel plate to color in some sheets and later paint or stencil on top. I've placed a pink A5 size sheet underneath my gel plate as a placement guide. I usually choose a certain color palette with future craft and mixed media projects in mind, so today I'll be using navy, grey, yellow ochre, light peach and pale mint as well as white. I've cut several sheets of white A4 paper in both 160 and 120 GSM weight in half to make a stack of A5 size printing papers. Let's get started. I'm going to start with the light colors first. I add some paint straight to the gel plate and roll it out with a brayer, and then place a sheet of paper on top and smooth it out, and then pull the print. I continue with each color of my palette and set each aside to dry for later. While those are drying, I focus on mark making. I always like to have some graphic black and white collage papers in my stash. These are pretty self-explanatory. I'm using a big round tip marker to make some wonky lines. I have turned the paper round as it is easier to draw this way. For this next one, I am using a fineliner and making continuous loops. For this next one, I am using a small sponge brush and pale mint paint, and I'm making diagonal marks all over the paper. And for this last one, I am simply adding a stencil on top. Now let's get back to the jelly prints. I'm using an old wine cork to make large dots in pale peach on the grey paper. Next, I am using the small eraser on the back of a pencil to make tiny dots in white on the peach-colored paper. Using a cork and an eraser will not make perfect dots. They will be irregular, slightly wonky, but that is part of the charm in my opinion. And for these last two solid colored papers, I will simply stencil on top in white and grey respectively. You may have noticed that I have deliberately chosen geometric shapes to emphasize the modern aesthetic of these prints. So I now have a nice bunch of cohesive papers on hand, as well as a few solid colored ones that make good backgrounds in journals. I admit I am not very patient when it comes to making collage, so I find this fast process immensely satisfying. I hope you will give it a go.